Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whenever you're listening to this. This is the CFAMC listening room, and we are happy today to have as a guest Sean Milijasevic, who is in Serbia and is therefore a Serbian composer, as you might expect. And right now we have people from a few continents here, so that's quite good. Sean, Sean does a lot of different work, and he edits music for people and helps create things for other musicians, performers, etc. But he is also composes music himself. He actually does that. So, Sean, tell us something about yourself.
Well, hello everybody. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for your time. I am a composer from Serbia, as Bill said. I was born and raised here in Belgrade City. I've been doing music composition for, I don't know, let's say actively around 10 years, 10-ish years, something like that. I was obviously doing music even before that, but let's say actively and even professionally, less 10 years. I play piano. I'm not a concert pianist or anything, but I can uh, play some piano, and I also play drums as well, not as actively anymore, unfortunately. And what to say? I don't know. I enjoy to listen classical music, of course. I do also compose classical music as well. But obviously, as Bill pointed out, I do all kinds of different music since I was working for quite a long time and still do as a music producer. So I experimented with all kinds of musical styles and genres and did music for like film animations mainly and yes, even commercial stuff and things like that, some trailers and all kinds of things. Also helped other musicians from all kinds of genres and things like that. So that's basically my musical background in a nutshell.
And you are also, we have never had anyone on our program who is Orthodox. I think
Yes, I am an
you're
Orthodox
the
Christian.
first. Yes,
Yes, Eastern Orthodox Christian. Yes.
yes, Eastern Orthodox. I don't mean Orthodox in the other sense of the word. We probably have people that are not Orthodox in that sense either. The founder of our group, who is Mark Hidgley, and I'm just looking if Jerry would know him, certainly. A few of you do. So his father was Palestinian, or is, or was Palestinian Orthodox. Uh, so we have that in our origin. And of course, CFAMC is non denominational Christian. Now, good news for atheists, God loves atheists also, but his love can't affect you if you don't connect to him. So that's the issue with that. That's where Jesus comes in very handy. He's very connects the creator of the universe with you people who are all of us who are made in his image. So we thank Jesus for our group in this program, and a few of us will be in a few weeks in Houghton College in New York State for the annual national conference, or CFAMC. Maybe we should call it international. We wouldn't call it interplanetary. That would be a little excessive. Um, Sean, what first piece I have to listen to is a Korean rap,
Oh,
correct?
okay. We are starting with that one. Okay, okay.
Yes, I'm going down my list. Would you like to change the order? I
No,
can.
no, no. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter really.
Yes. So, could you explain this? This would be a piece you must have been paid to do, I would imagine.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes,
So this is a sample of something you do a lot of. It would be
yes,
like when
yes.
we heard Neil Stipp play organ. in his church or something. You know, it represents what he does. So tell us about.
Well, basically, the artist is it's not he's not Korean. He's Chinese. His name is
Oh,
Masi
I'm
Wei.
sorry.
No problem at all. His name is Masi Wei, and he's a relatively known rap artist in China and in Asia in general. He has a massive following, and he have performed in large concerts like 10,000 people or even more. I'm not sure, but I know that he had some of those big performances. Basically, he's like many other hip hop artists. He raps over a electronic music, electronic beats and whatnot. But at one point they decided to have a session of 3 songs that will be performed in studio, a studio recording with live musicians actually. So they needed a composers to help them out how to arrange and orchestrate everything and whatnot. So they contacted me, they found me, and we started working on those songs. And the song that we will be presenting tonight is called "Hip Hop Saved My Life." It's the last song of that album. Album is called Dark Horse, and it's the most important song on that album, at least for the artist. And basically the story is I actually translated I was able to translate the lyrics and what what is the meaning of the lyrics is basically it's the story of life of Massive told through an entity called hip hop. So like imagine that hip hop is a person, and he actually speaks about the life of Massive, and the story basically goes like when the Massive was young kid, he was having like a tough life. He wasn't particularly good at school, and he wasn't able to get to a basketball team and things like that. He wasn't particularly good with girls and whatnot. But hip hop speaks about that. He was watching this kid, and he chose this kid to be the hip hop artist today. So that's the kind of the gist of the story.
I see. Well, let's listen to and see it.
Che, 可以坐下来聊下天吗？他们的 CD 带习惯吗？许过的愿望全都实现了。你觉得你自己有没有变呢？受不了别人在说你的坏话。你觉得你付出了足够的代价？不同的女人的香水，马屁在你的周围。回到了家里面一个人的时候，是否会害怕？你是否怀念你小时候？伴随日落约好朋友们在楼顶吹风，追女孩比做数学题还困难。像笨蛋，从不为未来担心，因为你知道你根本没有任何胜算。我在那个时候选中了你，闯入你的生活，带你去了新世界里。那是我第一次介绍我的名字给你 ，HIP HOP，Hip Hop saved my life。Hip Hop saved my life. Yeah. Hip Hop saved my life. Come on. Hip Hop saved my life. 都给我闭嘴！我知道应该怎么做的。我过的生活是我做梦都想过的。还记得我出了地铁站就是个跑车店，我站在门口幻想有一天能开到灰皮线。我曾经不吃午饭为了一本漫画书，我想要实现愿望找到我的七龙珠。在学校里面是个异类，没地位，在篮球校队是个替补，没有上场机会。直到了有一天你出现在我世界，我开始意识到和这些人的区别。我拒绝和他们过一样的生活，我说拒绝。我张开翅膀就没想过落地，哪怕今天理解。你让我大胆冲吧，别害怕，不要退后。你永远在我背后，你会陪我走到最后。你是个秘密，赋予我生命特殊意义。HIP HOP Hip Hop saved my life. Hip Hop saved my life. Shoot that. Hip Hop saved my life. Yes, come on. Hip Hop saved my life. 个观众等我们上场，来把手叠在一起，我们做到了。我背着一书包先进去买车，后视镜的自己像是菲比森一样的笑着。给我支笔，我甚至都不需要纸，就了个写出了完美的歌词。现在的家人的希望，朋友的梦想，像是在天空中飞翔的鸽子。和当年的我一样的幼稚，一样的斗志，明明的斗志，绝不会倒下去，因为我是一个斗士。更多目光只会让我更强。我不想睡 ，on my way 变得更忙。这是我曾无数次碰到的灯光，打在我的身上。我和他一起经历太多，他爱我，他是我身体里跳动的脉搏。这首是关于我跟他的友谊 ，HIP HOP。Goes like hey, hip hop saved my life, yeah, come on, hip hop saved my life, yeah, yeah, hip hop saved my life, true that, come on, hip hop saved my life.
Do we have any comments?
Buddy President, very effective.
Thank you.
So I liked your tonal language, your accompaniment, your chord structures. Looked to me like maybe jazz influenced some. Pop does that too, but a little more jazz. Is that right?
Well, the thing is, I was given the album version of the song, and obviously, when the beat makers create those beats, they don't think too much about playability or anything. They just do whatever works for the genre. So I was kind of challenged with two things. Basically, when you remove that fat bass they oftentimes use in the like 808s in beats and whatnot, you basically remove like 60% of the content of the music when you remove that, and those effects, all kinds of effects like glissandos and things that they use with that bass, you basically have removed more than half of the musical content. And also the drums, they program those drums like to be unplayable. So I was thinking that when I was choosing the instruments for this song, I started with a double bass. I wanted to have that like something that will emulate the bass from the original beat. And then I was thinking, how can I produce some musical content to go with that? And then I was thinking like, let's go with the string quartet and maybe some piano there. And then the idea started to grow. And then I decided to add even some brass, and then that way we can have like a whole range from low to high, and then we can add the harmonic content that is not originally present in the beat.
But in the version we just saw, that is present. And so when we hear brass instruments, those were live instruments, that was not MIDI or something.
No, everything is played live in the session, as you heard, but some of the music that you heard in this live session is not present in the original album version when there is electronic beat. So there is a more musical content here rather than on the album version.
I'd be curious to know also, because Chinese is a pitched language, that doesn't mean they understand it, that when he's speaking very rapidly, but it doesn't sound Chinese, the speaking when he's doing it. I'm not hearing like glissandi and things, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, but I
But
guess
obviously the musicians in this performance are musically literate. I'm not trying to insult
yes, of course, they are
musicians.
professional musicians.
Yes, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they read notes. Because being illiterate doesn't mean you're
Of
stupid.
course, of course, of
Yeah.
course.
Your sound is getting softer. They'll get a little closer to that mic.
Yes, Shalane. I mean Jerry. Okay. Shalane is my wife's name. Um, any other comments, questions, criticisms?
I really like it. Rap isn't usually what the music I listen to. Well, to be honest, I don't like rap, so I did not like the vocals. But I really like the instruments and the arrangement and the jazz influence and all of this. I'm not a musician, so I can't speak from that perspective, but well, I studied music for 5 years as a child, so I have a bit of a background, but not like a composer or anything. But I really like how it lifts the song and somehow makes it like two people can dance to, or gives it this really light feeling to it, kind of dreamy kind of feeling. So yeah, I really liked it. It was quite unexpected to blend those two genres together. It's not something I heard before.
Pharrell, you're an artist, visual artist, is that correct?
Yes, I'm a painter, classical painter.
You're a classical painter. What kind of style would it be if we saw your paintings? Or can you show us one? Then that's worth 1,000 words. Could you hold up something quickly and seriously, this program is not about you, but it would be interesting to hear that. Do you have any picture you could hold up to the screen or the camera?
Well, thank you very much. I'm not sure because I haven't been painting in quite a long time. It's somewhat of a long story, so I only have very like simple still life I'm working on. But I don't know, maybe I could just turn the video off and just go and search for something. But yeah, usually the classical styles that you see, like the old masters, at least this is the inspiration. I'm still someone who is building her craft, so
So you are using models from hundreds of years ago, European.
yeah, like like the Rembrandt, the Titian, Turner, all the good painters. Yeah.
Very good. Well, Titian lived to be an old man, didn't he? Maybe you could look and come back in a few minutes and show us a painting.
Yeah,
You do
sure.
that?
So
Yeah.
I'll look
You
for
can
some.
sign off, and we'll continue with non-visual artist, musician, composer types, but don't stay away too long. Now, we're going to hear next. This is I don't know if you I have any of you ever seen Disney's Fantasia 2000? Any of you ever seen that? Jerry has. I have. I think it's better than the first one. To me,
I think I probably saw the first one.
the problems with the first one. Stravinsky had problems with it. He didn't like dinosaurs showing, early Russian sacrifice or something. But
Love it.
at any rate, this reminds me in Fantasy 2000, they have Firebird, and the storyline of that, which is of course it's a spring, and and everything she touches comes to life, and she touches a volcano, and that you should never do that. If any of you touch things and they become alive, don't touch volcanoes. Stay away from that. Okay, stick with birds or something. But and everything's just totally burnt and it's terrible. And then this moose comes along, who's kind of like her guardian angel, you guess you'd say, and breathes on her ashes, all that's left are ashes, and she comes back to life. And then she becomes extremely back to life. And trees just like shooting up from the sky like in 2 seconds, and it's and it goes, of course, with the end of the Firebird, that very beautiful section. So I don't like it when somebody tells me something I did reminds me of somebody else. I do not like that at all. I just did it. So if any of you are offended right now, good for you. You should be. It's wrong. At any rate, it's a similar idea. Tell us about this, Sean.
We are talking about Spring,
storyline.
yes?
Spring.
Okay. Spring is a short animation. It was the part of the composers competition that I entered in a few years ago. I don't remember. It's probably 2022 or something like that. I'm not sure. But anyway, the composer was given a task to score the music for this short animation. This is like a compressed version of the somewhat larger animation, also called Spring. So basically, what they did is kept the story, but kind of removed the unnecessary parts to keep the animation a bit shorter. So we were given basically blank kind of video and like do what you want, and this is my take on that. Basically, the story in the nutshell is the girl and her companion are trying to awake the nature from the huge winter sleep, and then they face some kind of challenge, and then they overcome that challenge and bring back the life. So that's the main motif and main theme of this short animation. So I kind of kept that in mind and tried to accentuate all the important emotions in the film.
Well, that really evokes, your music evokes the thing with film and music is like you're not supposed to notice the music, but it affects you very much anyway. That seems to me, I don't know. What comments on this, Sean's work in this, and the video in itself? Silence is not appreciated here. Speak.
And unmute. Okay, first of all, I'd like to know how you write to film like this. Do you use software? And then what software do you use? And so I'm aware that we can always program in instruments into software immediately so that we don't need to go through, first of all, a notation program and then get to the final product. So how's your process like that?
Well, in this particular case, I did use notation as well, but obviously I programmed everything in MIDI. The DAW I use is called Magic Sequoia. I use it for many years. I'm very comfortable with it. So and then I'm able to open the video inside the Sequoia, and I'm able to go through all the important moments and kind of put my tempo markers and things like that. But before that, what I tend to do is I first watch the movie many times and kind of take notes of all the important things and things that I like, and I also analyze. I ask myself questions like what did the producer wanted to tell in this particular moment, or what should we as audience feel in this particular moment, and then I write some notes and I go over the movie many times, and then I open it in my MIDI sequencing program. But in this case I also use notation because there is that dramatic middle part, and I kind of felt I wanted to add to that the drama with the four-part choir, and then writing four parts in MIDI is like it's easier to do it in notation. So I first wrote that part in notation, and then I transferred that into MIDI, and then I added orchestra on top of that. So that's what we hear in that kind of chase scene in the middle. It's both orchestra and four-part choir, because the way I wanted to add tension and drama was through counterpuntal writing. So we have four independent lines, and they go over that, and then the orchestral hits and rhythm go as well with that. So that adds a lot of drama in the middle.
So how long did it take you to do that little thing we just heard?
Well, this was done very late, and it's done in like a week. So I kind of died doing that. So it was very quick process. I did it basically. I was just doing that for like 7 days. So it took me. Usually, I would prefer at least 2 weeks or even more to do something like that. But in this particular case, I started very late.
John, do you have anything to say?
I'm just going to say that sounds familiar when he's talking about tight deadlines. I've been there, done that too. I can appreciate that.
That little girl in the video reminds me of one of my granddaughters, and I have to show her that video. I should do that. Well, Firel, how do we pronounce your name? You don't have to correct my pronunciation. It's okay. Did you find a painting to show us, something of yours?
Yes, it's Fidel.
Firel.
Fidel, yeah.
Yeah,
Firel. Close. Okay.
Well, there is this one floral still life that I have been working on. It's not something that I enjoy, but it's part of practice as being a painter. It's not finished yet, but just something like this. This is a detail. It's yeah.
If we could make the screen, I don't know how to do that, to make it only see a screen of
Oh,
your.
it's beautiful.
Yes, it is beautiful.
yes, it is.
Thank you.
And so this is done with paint and brush
Yes.
and canvas.
Uh-huh.
And I know Rembrandt said if you looked at his paintings up close, he would say, "Step back, the oil will make you dizzy." So he didn't want people to pick apart what he was doing. He wanted to,
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
you know,
That's interesting.
it's beautiful.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the, I feel honored. I'm just here as a guest and, just asking me to show a painting, and I'm just still someone building her craft. I feel very, very honored and humbled.
Oh,
Very
well, thank
Thank
you
you for
that.
sharing.
Yeah, we're all guests in life.
Yes, that was nice.
Now, next, going back to Sean's music, we have a. This is something that is a very American expression. And after the I once had a friend who is from Colombia, and she said the ugliest words she ever heard in English when she came to America was "shut up." It doesn't sound like tais-toi. It's like "shut up," and but the title this also is something in America. If you say this title to people, it's not very kind. But in this case, this is a play on words because the subject of this storyline, she is getting lost in her dancing and in what she's doing. And so I wanted to tell us more about Get Lost, which is the name of the piece.
Well, in this case, we have a Fantasia for solo piano. It's basically a depiction of the title is Get Lost, the Fantasia for solo piano, Get Lost. Number one, Get Lost. And get lost means obviously getting lost in something that you love to do. That's the core idea. And you will see that's presented visually through her dancing indoors. That's actually what's happening in reality. But then we get switched into kind of another reality, basically what happens in her mind, and she basically imagines her dancing somewhere out there in the nature and things like that, and is basically completely lost in what she does, and obviously what she loves. And that's not a performance, but actually a practice session. So she's getting lost by herself, no audience, no nothing. And piano music is kind of trying to depict that kind of emotion of being very, very emotional.
So no matter the size of the audience, the music is still heard, or the painting is still seen,
Yes,
or
and
the
the
poem
dance
is
is
still
felt. Yes.
recited, or whatever it is we're creating. I'm tempted right now to play Steve Martin doing King Tut. I will not do that. Okay, here we go.
So effective, so effective. Greg, I like that.
Thank you very much.
That's very nice. The title captures the music and the music captures the title both very well, I thought.
Thank you.
This is a very good example of how to use more little bit bite, as you and me call it, Sean. There is in the melodies, it doesn't kind of bloom. It takes time to bloom. So there is this heaviness, maybe this stress, and the modern world, the coldness of it. And then in the beginning, as she starts to dance, it doesn't just bloom into complete peace and harmony. It's still kind of, she start dancing it more and more away, that type of heaviness maybe, or stress, or sadness, or whatever it should be. And then the more she does it, then suddenly that major happiness, that joy comes in, and and you got that very beautiful release, kind of a climax of peace. When you just stay and get lost long enough, you often come into that state. It takes a little bit of time. So because of that build-up, it's so satisfying. And so exactly this, this area we have also used on our Composers for Beauty video of you, really showing how that you're able to get that beauty out there. And then I think very effective also then we bring it back again. So you have that contrast. And I think that's especially with piano music, I think it's very easy that piano music can become a little bit flat, that there's not enough contrast. And I think you managed to really develop and create enough contrast so you hear it's a clear story there. So I think that worked very well. So it shows really some of your strengths there in that piece.
Thank you, brother. But basically, you nailed it. You nailed it the way I was thinking. I tried to build the tension through repetition. So basically, what we have is the variation on the main theme. So we have a main theme, then we have variation, and then we get to that major part that's happiness. Basically, like going, like trying once, then trying second time, trying third time, and then you kind of make it to get to that space, let's say. So that was the way I kind of built the tension. I stayed in the same key region and build attention through repetition, and then we kind of release. And then when she opens her eyes at the end, and then when we get back to reality, the sadness and whatnot. So that's kind of the story arc there.
So there's a definition of form as a combination of repetition and contrast.
Yes, obviously. But it's not the one of the traditional forms, so that's why it's fantasia. It's not like sonata or whatever, because it's like free flowing of the themes.
I was just gonna ask you. I like the piano. Have you ever thought of doing the same thing, or transcribe it for strings?
No, but that's actually maybe not terrible idea. No, I haven't. It never crossed my mind.
I think you might, just for fun, you might find that the strings can accomplish about as much as the piano could in this particular case. It's just an idea that came into my mind.
Thank you very much. Never crossed my mind.
I just wanted to say that I like how the music conveys this idea of one person. So when you hear it, it's you think of one person, you don't think of two people or the group of people or any of that. And as other people said, it really, the title and the music reflect each other. So that's interesting how music could describe how many people are there in the scene. So yeah, I really liked that.
Thank you.
So does anyone here know how to say the word yearning in Italian?
It's not yearning, but it's Yeah, yes, yes, it kind of is, yes, but there is a slight distinction.
Well, continue what I just started, Sean.
Well, the next piece, I obviously know what Bill is talking about. It's another Fantasia for piano. This is Fantasia number 2. It's called it has an Italian name. It's called Fantasia Struggimento, and the word struggimento is kind of yearning, longing, but as I'm aware of it, it's not just that. It's like a sort of that, but also like a mixture of feeling kind of thing. So they have a very specific word for that. So that's the idea behind this piece, and this piece is a little wild, um, both in terms of themes that happen, because it's an emotional journey through. We have 4 emotions, 4 themes that we go through, and also the style of the composition is more atonalish, chromatic type of stuff. So I guess not everyone's cup of tea, but I tried my best to use that kind of approach to be not as challenging to the audience, but as challenging as possible for the performers, if that makes
And
any sense.
when you said there are 4 different, what was the
Emotions,
word?
yes,
Emotions, was that?
yes, we
What are the
started.
4
If
emotions?
if I recall correctly, we start with sadness, then we go to, and then in the score you can also see the titles. We start with sadness, then we go to anger, surprise, and happiness. Yes, and the little coda at the end. Also, there is one thing, the score video, since I done that yesterday, I was in a hurry. At least at one point, the score gets kind of late, shifting from one page to another. So please excuse that. I was lazy to go back to to fix that, because I saw only when I uploaded it to YouTube, and I was like, everybody can kind of hold their horses for one bar, I guess.
Bet you had fun with the anger.
Sometimes when someone loses their temper, it's funny,
Yeah.
Like Donald Duck, for example.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking Donald Duck when I was writing that, but I guess that makes sense in a way.
Why did you decide to kind of be a little jazzy in the happiness section?
Um, I was thinking how to approach that part because the whole piece is very dissonant, and I didn't want it to go like very plain triadic harmony or something like that. So I wanted to add some spice, and that's how the jazzy chords came about. Because it's for me it was like it is happiness, but it's kind of with a touch of blue, maybe that kind of happiness, very calm type of happiness. So when I'm thinking of that kind of calm happiness, I'm thinking like a major seventh chord, something like that. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting, and that's how the idea of that came about. So we go through all this atonalish chromatic stuff, and then we kind of land still tiny dissonant, but not too much. So jazz seemed like a perfect solution there.
Now, Jerry Casey, who is one asking those questions, I've known her music now for a number of years, and let me get close to the microphone. And she writes in a lot of varieties of styles. So
Oh,
over the years ago, I'd go to a concert, people. She wrote this way, and then she wrote that way, right? So variety is the spice of life, right? It's, Sean,
I'll share real quick one incident. I
Please.
was working with a former professor at Ohio State University when I lived up in Columbus. He really was a really great help to me. He only lived a mile away from my house, and I got to work with him for about 8 or 10 years because I didn't have much formal composing training. I had just general stuff in my college stuff. And so I was working on something and I was going through it with him. And then I'd written a lot of songs to sing at church because that's really where I got started. And I like to take old words of hymns and then reset them. And so I took it Whiter Than Snow and sort of made it into kind of like a jazzy kind of a sound or gospel kind of sound. So I played that for him. He looked at me and said, if I'd heard those two pieces without you being here, I would never have suspected the same person wrote them.
I get that. I get that.
Sean, tell us about God and Sean.
Oh, that's a tough one. Well,
It's tougher. It might have been tougher for him than for you. I don't know, but go on.
probably, I don't know.
Was.
But as for me, my journey was kind of I don't know, almost like there are no crazy big events in my journey, like many people do share some. I had a few. I usually I rarely talk about those because it's always it's kind of hard. But in general, if we remove a couple of my experiences, my journey in faith was very much an accumulation of wisdom and life through trial and error and finding what the truth actually is. So when I was really young, I wasn't attending no church. My family is not a particularly religious one, but I kind of started finding the God in my early tens, maybe. Like I was the first time I really remember I was getting to that decision, like, okay, I'm a believer. It was, I think I was 13 years old, early teens, something like that. When I decided, like, okay, there is God, but I didn't know anything at all. But I was drawn to this idea of God, and obviously over the years I learned a lot more. What does it mean actually to be a Christian? Because in my own experience, as soon as you kind of decide and make that decision, however it came about, when you start that journey, you will be tempted, and there will be all kinds of challenges along the way. So that's something that I started experiencing in my teens, and over the years, I actually kind of, it was revealed to me, I would say, to simply through life, that I have a big ego problem, even though I'm a very easygoing person, and I have never experienced any particular envy or had any problems with other people. I'm really easy to communicate. I'm a good listener and things like that. But I actually had a huge ego problem. I would say pride, kind of something like that, along those lines. And it took me quite a few years, and I'm still obviously on the journey, but it took me quite a few years just to discover and to know that I have actually that I'm a prideful person, that I have a lot of pride in me, and the music was actually a big part of that. I started to realize that I like music, and I like music composition. I actually wanted to compose music to show off, and I never had that idea like that in my mind, but somewhere unconsciously and deep down inside me, there is actually that kind of desire to show off your skills and to show off your ability to compose music and to understand classical music and things like that. So there was a lot of pride tied to that, and the process of creating music and creating art was actually a really painful one during those years, and I never understood why. And then over time, I started to learn more about God, what it actually means to be a Christian. I started to realize that I have some problems, and then slowly I worked. I started to go to church regularly, and do all the fasting. I was always big on fasting, even in those years. But fasting is obviously a big part in Eastern Orthodox culture, and as you kind of progress in the journey, you start to acquire more and more knowledge about what spiritual fasting actually means. It's not just about what food you take in and things like that. It's more about the spiritual battle and discipline, and how you approach the temptations and those kind of struggles. So basically, more and more I got into faith, the easier was to compose music in a way, because I was letting go of many emotions and some preconceived truths, basically lies and illusions that I kind of built myself. And so that was kind of the spiritual process for me. God basically put me through maybe a temptation that's very close to my heart, and music, obviously. So maybe I was even idolizing music and things like that. So I needed to let go of all of those things, and I guess I'm still learning. So that was kind of the journey in a nutshell. So accumulation of wisdom through practicing the Christian way of living, I guess.
Isn't God wonderful the way he works on us and does for us and blesses us and helps us? We just can't praise him enough for what he does in our lives.
Yes, I agree.
Thanks for sharing.
Thank you, thank you.
The original sin was a music director, uh, Lucifer, and that's very it's very humbling when I direct music in my church. I was listening to a sermon yesterday, not in my church, on that subject, and I thought that's just my job. The pastor doesn't do this, but I do. And but we're also looking. People have heard my statement on this so much. It's like we're born with a problem, which in God creating us, which has to be removed, and God replaces the thing that's wrong with us with an identity in Him, and that is also a process, but it's also something that happens. Or as my daughter Sarah said when she was 3, she's now 45, but when she was 3, she said, Jesus took my cranky heart to the cross with Him, and He gave me His own loving heart. So there's like a transfer and a gift. So we are all brothers and sisters in that. And I also would like to stress, since we're in CFAMC, Jesus has one, and I say this all the time, Jesus has one church. He has had it for 2,000 years, and we're all part of it. And God likes variety. I think He's happy that we have. What about Serbian liturgy in the church? How does that? What do you think of the music in the Orthodox?
Well,
Is it anything like Russian Orthodox music?
yes, it's very similar. Basically, all Eastern Orthodox tradition is very all the different churches are pretty much the same. We don't have any instruments. It's just singing, and it's singing in the mostly in the old church Slavonic language, which is very like archaic and traditional. It's very beautiful also to sing. So basically, that's the only thing that we use, musically speaking, is our voices, and everything is how to say, very structured during the liturgy. We always know what's to be sang and how, and in every church, everything is basically almost like united. I don't know how to say it other than that. So if you were to let's say start a liturgy, let's say in Serbia on a particular day, and then be teleported, let's say in Russia or whatever, in Romania, in another church, you would be basically be in the same liturgy. Everything is the same. We know exactly what's to be sang that day, and what's the we all share the same that old and how you say it, Julian calendar. I'm not sure how
So
to say it in English.
it's a couple of weeks different than I go to Lutheran church. I'm in a Catholic neo-catechumenal group, also the Catholic Church, and we have the same readings almost always. A Catholic, also Lutheran, Episcopalian, and Methodist, all are usually those readings. And I suspect the readings in Greek Orthodox, Russian Orthodox, etc.
Yeah, but it's not just the readings, it's also the songs and the
songs.
way the liturgy is structured, and basically everything. The fasting is also synchronized, and what days we fast and what not, and
So
basically everything is the same.
There's a structure, and also all churches have a liturgy. They some will say, no, we're not liturgical, but you do certain things at certain times. So in a Pentecostal Protestant church, you would have worship chorus, you would have praise choruses before worship choruses. Praise would be like jumping up and down and happy, and the second one is like meditative and quiet, different kind of thing. So there's a structure to like the structure of music. Next, we are going to hear Oh, Richard. Oh, no, we're not. We're hearing Danny and the Wild Bunch.
Okay.
Tell us about this.
Well, basically, this is another animation I did for a competition. This was done like quite a few years ago. I almost forgot about this one when we were going through my music, and then I just saw it somewhere, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe I showed this one and you liked it, and so we included it. It's basically a story about the creator, and not in a religious sense, but it's obviously very connected. The creator and the creation, basically, that's the main idea. And the creator is actually getting corrupted at some point and tries to change the creation, and then creation turns back on the creator, starting to seek control and more power and whatnot. So that dynamic was very appealing to me to explore musically, and the story is also I think you're gonna like it. It's a very nice story about creation. So let's watch it and let's see how you like it.
Yeah, I know, Mom. Yeah, no, I'm fine. Really, I'm good. This is all part of the process, you know? It just takes 99 no's to get one yes. They said the same thing that they always say. Thanks, but no thanks. You know, kids' books these days have to be more cynical, darker. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Mom. Love you.
Miranda! Bullseye! What do you mean darker?
Danny, I think we just have to face facts. Yang is out and yin is in.
Yeah, but the Wild Bunch aren't dark. They're just not like that.
Well, maybe they need to be.
Oh, what it needs is a good old-fashioned Wild West shootout, or a swashbuckling adventure on the high seas. Wait, or a voyage to the far reaches of space.
I write the words. You're the pictures, remember?
The Wild Bunch aren't gonna like this.
Hello? Danny? Danny, I know you're upset, but I didn't have a choice.
Oh, we always have a choice. You reap what you sow.
any of you a perfectionist?
Yeah.
I think we all are. I do not know any composer that is not a perfectionist. They have different personalities in other ways. One might be extroverted and funny, and the other one's very quiet and gentle or different, but that's a tendency. So tell us something, somebody who hasn't spoken much. Rachel, we haven't heard from you. Are you there? I see your name. Anyone? Sean, do you have anything to say?
Well, did you like the story at least?
Well, they didn't say they didn't like it, so let's
Yeah,
have
of
some
course, but
comments.
let's start with the story. I'm very fascinated with the story. I like the movie. I don't know about you.
I'm just sad because she took something that is supposed to be joyful or innocent, and then she turned it into something evil or dark, the
Yes,
least. And I think that's rather disturbing. Like,
yes,
why should they do that?
that's one of the crucial moments in the story. She got tempted to change her creation in order to achieve profit or whatever to make a living, and then it turns out how it ends. So that's the thing. Like, should you stay true to your dream and your creation and whatnot, or should you adjust it and change it in order to gain, let's say, money or whatever?
Interesting concept, anyway.
It's like the creation wins instead of the creator.
Yes, I mean, it really has an like underlying religious tone to it, I guess. So that's one of the reasons also why I like it so much.
There is this novel that is shared among the painters community, and it's by Nikolai Gogol. It's called the portrait or the painter's portrait. I'll look it up and then send it in the chat. And it talks about this painter who also changed his values just to fit in society. And they always use this book as a warning for painters as not to change their values or betray their talent and go on with the contemporary modern values just to fit society and to gain fame and that type of thing. So just something that I remembered that is related to that. I don't think that one should change their values, and especially that most people do anyway. I think, all the more reason for someone not to change their values and to remain as faithful as they could be, before God and themselves, their, community and all of that. Yeah, it's just because, like, and this is maybe more from a visual point of view or a philosophical point of view than music, but I think that to present this idea, one could be tempted, and then one idea could change the course of history for better or for worse. So yeah.
Do any of you know a painter named Thomas Kincaid? Thomas Kincaid he died younger than he should have, and he was an alcoholic at the end of his life. He studied very modern art. He liked people like Franz Klein and things like that. And then he encountered an old artist who said, you need to paint with light. And he created these very commercial looking artworks with like a house, and it glows and it's very pretty. It is extremely popular. Many, he made a lot of money. Disney commissioned him to do things. But he was torn by this because he had this desire to please an intellectual group of people that are studying in a university, that kind of thing. And Thomas Kincaid would be insulted horribly by serious artists. And both of them are a problem, and it's that we are trying to, sometimes when you create something, I think you do have to create it for the other people. You have to consider, who is this for? If I'm writing a piece of music and it's for my church, it would be different than writing for a Christian Fellowship of Art Musicos gathering. But on the other hand, we can get carried away with that, and that means we're addicted to people's approval rather than saying, God, what do you want in this? So that's a process. It's very easy that's a nice platitude to mouth off right now, but it's something to learn. And the source is really to not think about yourself, but to think of the work you're doing, and also even more thinking of God as you're doing it.
And you know what's funny? That I know I looked up Thomas Kincaid, and now I remember his paintings, and many, well, maybe many, or at least let's say just some painters agree that it's just decorative and commercial, and it does not add much. That book is called The Mysterious Portrait by Nikolai Gogol, a Russian novelist, for anyone who may be interested.
Type it in the chat, please.
Yes.
Have any of you ever encountered doing something wrong and you felt bad about it?
Musically or in general?
I mean, in life.
Oh,
music,
for sure.
yeah.
For sure.
If I can't hear an amen, let me hear an ouch. Because we all do that, and we're also looking, wanting approval and all the things that God gives us Himself. So when I originally, this music, if you were on our program last month, and a few of you were, you heard it already. This is O Wretched Man, and Magnus Gadestad wrote the music, and Sean, I won't try the last name right now, Sevic, I guess that's the end, but he did the text and also the orchestration. So what I would like him to do is to read the text to the piece, and then in English, please, not in Serbian. We will just. And I seem to remember we had a meeting, and I started to talk about, I think this is the passage, it relates to it, where St. Paul in Romans 7 says, and if you'd look at me for a minute and I have to do this as I say this, the very thing I would not do, that I would do. But then Paul adds and says, that isn't me, but sin in me. What he's saying is that is not my identity. When you commit the same sin 70 times a day and the other guy is supposed to forgive you, that's what Jesus said, that isn't you, but sin in you doing it. So we don't identify with that, but we do need to recognize the sin. And sometimes there are processes that people go through to be free of it. It might be fasting, or it might be worshiping God, or some other thing. So if Sean could read these words, which are very well done, and then we will hear Magnus's very wonderful music to go with this, afterwards.
Again, don't worry about the Serbian. As I said, I write the lyrics in English, so no translation needed, I guess. So the song is, or the piece is called "Oh Wretched Man." It is inspired by Romans 7, and basically the main idea and the main theme is the weight of sin. So when I started thinking about the lyrics, how and how to approach it, and what words to pick, and also I was thinking obviously music and lyrics as well, in terms of orchestration, and I was thinking that there is that weight that's ever present in us as humans, the weight of sin, and we all kind of carry that through our lives, and I wanted this to be reflected through lyrics and through orchestration. So I wanted something that's a bit heavier, heavier sounding, and also heavier in terms of the words. So what I will read the text, and then we can listen the piece. Enslaved by my own weight of flesh, dead as stone. In the storm, battle rages on, the light and the darkness I've known. Deep desire, burning flesh, oh my dear, how am I to know the truth, consumed by doubt and fear? What a wretch the man that I am, a slave. I cry out, who will deliver thee from death? Against my own will, I serve the blood and bone. In the storm, battle rages on, the light and the darkness I've known. How I long to follow the path divine, the call for weary soul of mine. What a wretch the man that I am, a slave. I cry out, who will deliver thee from death? For that which I do, I allow not. For what I would, that do I not. But what I hate, that do I. Slave, slave, oh, come to me in chains. What a wretch the man that I am, a slave. I cry out, who will deliver thee, O my Lord? So that's the text.
Could the two gentlemen that created this from a higher power, however, talk about this?
Well, Magnus, you want to go first?
Can you repeat the question one more time? Just making sure I got it.
Would each of you talk about the music, what we just heard?
What we
just heard.
The piece.
Just in
Oh,
general?
Wretched Man.
Yeah, in general, yeah.
What I think about it?
You could talk about
It's just an open question.
how it was. How did it start? The piece. Who had the? I think that probably Magnus had the first idea for what the piece should be, right?
Right. Yes.
So-
It was first called Darkness, and really it was a piece before when I was very early on into the faith. It was the vocal line which sings this dramatic chromatic melody in the verse. That was like a flute first, but I think I really liked how we arranged it for this one, and it was this this temptative. I wanted something to reflect that evil that I saw in myself at the time where I was repenting, and I became aware of the things that I loved was actually many times evil, and I kind of like it at the same time. So there's a certain pleasure to the beauty in the piece, but at the same time it's like this evil, and then when it's combined with the truth of God, then it becomes you stop celebrating that evil. It becomes sort of less like a sorrow, even though for me that type of evil melodies that you hear at times here, for example, that violin solo during the during the temptation there. So it's a meditative piece that is meant as part of a larger story, right? It has that resolution at the end of the hope, the call to God. So you're not left there, and that is something that we want to be doing in all our music. And I think when I first made this, I didn't have that last part yet. I was kind of more just fascinated by darkness. I always been that. I read about serial killers since I was 11 years old, and I was very fascinated about listening to black metal and a lot of just like that evil. I liked it, and I liked doing evil things. So still now I think we can everything can be done for the glory of God. So sometimes we need to expose the darkness, and that's what's been happening here. But it becomes beautiful when somebody has sorrow over it, which you can see here. So I think it relates to a feeling we know out in the world. We know it in the devil, we know it in the flesh, and then beauty is very important in this piece. Like I could never have had that lyrics and then had too much bite or tension in the music. That would be too disheartening. But because of those beautiful melodies, that keeps our spirit up during the whole piece, and then you have the release at the end. And then in this concert right after, then you had Kingdom of Victory, kind of building everything up again. And that's how it's supposed to work in a larger context. I want to also point out that Sean has also composed a couple of parts in this piece. There was a melodic interlude there that he added in there for variation, and also there was this modulation that happens, this drop that is built in there. So he added some of these things also in the intro, made it more complex. And so I think that's where Sean and I get a very good team. He kind of brings in that a bit more complexity to it, that sometimes a bit bite to it, and then I kind of keep things flowing enough so it also can work in a kind of a spiritual, meditative, contemplative type of function without it becoming too intellectual. So I think we kind of keep each other in check a little bit, that type of way, and we're only getting started of finding the way to perfect that cooperation.
It's an interesting, it's not exactly Rodgers and Hammerstein. I'm not talking about the style, I'm talking about even the way that isn't that somebody wrote the words and then the other person wrote the music. So it's really, you had the music first and then the words came. Wouldn't it be more that order? Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so it was called Darkness. We had a lot of the pieces in there. And then there was Temptation. That was very clear. You have those characters in there. And then it just came to my mind, Romans 7, that type of struggle, because there is this battle. That is always from the beginning was clear to me. There's a battle between light and darkness. And then it just became very clear that that's the best verse in the Bible to describe that battle. And we prayed about it. We read that Bible verse, and from then on, the words came out of those things coming together.
Yes. Do you concur with that, Sean, or you?
Yes, of course. I was just making a pause if anybody wanted to maybe ask a question or comment or
Yes,
whatever.
please, or someone else, yes.
I'm wondering about the inspiration for the vocals, please. The vocal style. I'm just curious about it.
Well, I suggested the bass and the soprano, like two opposing sides, the lower register, the lowest and the highest one, to create that contrast, because we wanted to paint the picture of battle and struggle. And then when the time came in that middle section, where soprano sings the part from the King James version, for that which I do, the bass gets that role of temptation or of darkness of Satan, and it says, slave, oh, come to me in chains. So basically, the bass is the one who pulls down, and soprano kind of want to go up. So that's the kind of one of the ideas that was behind the choice of the bass and soprano. And for the lyrics and for the melodies, it was going back and forth while I was orchestrating. For example, that part, like when bass sings in the chorus, what a wretch, that part is actually in the original, it's actually a sideline. And then I took that sideline and I was thinking, like, well, this would be very powerful if we took this and gave this melodic part to the bass. And the Martin, our bass singer, kind of did the marvelous job. His voice, he's very, very powerful, and I was very happy with his performance on this. So that's how we kind of go back and forth on that. Also in the Kingdom of Victory, the song that was performed after this one, we also have some similar ideas with strong bass, and then they kind of go together and whatnot. So that was the kind of thinking behind the choice of bass and soprano.
Well, I think we would agree that's a very effective composition. And
Thank you.
And you guys did a good job, and the performers did a good job, and God is the source. So He's the vine,
I really
we're the
was
branches.
really liked what you did with the soprano. Of course, I'm a soprano, and I always like it when the soprano gets to do something like that. I mean, and for her to come in on that from death, you know, at the end of that phrase that was so effective. And then, of course, that zinger at the end, Lord, just up in the stratosphere.
Yes, we
That
were
would just
aiming
be
for
really
that because she has obviously a large range and she can hit that high B, and obviously I was kind of preparing and saving that for special moments in the song to get that, and she's obviously a great singer, so we wanted to explore much of her abilities as possible, obviously.
very effective.
And Neil or John, do you have anything to say, or?
Not really. Enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Next is Rachel. Can you hear us, or are you just?
She's typing in the chat.
Oh, she is. Okay, let's see. Well, she had, yes. Okay, yes, okay. So Rachel will be our guest next month, and we will be hearing several, certainly choral pieces of hers, which are very beautiful, and hopefully some other thing too, not only just choral, but we'll have to figure that out. So she will be our guest next month, and I think this would be a good time to end. Since in Serbia right now it is practically 11 o'clock at night, right?
Yes.
So in New Jersey, however, it's only 5 o'clock it's going to be. What about in Brazil? What is the time there, right? That could be a couple time zones.
About 6 o'clock.
About 6 o'clock, okay.
Yeah.
An hour later, so you're east of
Like-
United States, Brazil.
Like
Pascal.
Canadian, like Canadian Atlantic time.
Would someone close us with a prayer? How about doing this? If we could say this in English, and if you want to omit the end, since that isn't in the original scripture. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory. Could we say the Lord's Prayer in English? And let's end with that. That would be good. Here we go. Oh, well, we have to be together. Well, that's okay. It'll sound a little bit like a multitude of voices. Our Father,
Father,
who art
who
in
art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
be thy name.
Thy kingdom
Thy
come,
kingdom come,
thy will be
thy
done
will be done,
on earth
earth
as it
as
is
it is in heaven.
Give us this
Give us
day
this day our daily bread,
and forgive
and
us
forgive us
our
our
trespasses
trespasses as we
we
forgive
forgive
those who trespass against us.
and lead us
Lead us
not
not
into
into
temptation,
temptation,
but
but
deliver us
deliver us from evil.
thine
Thine is the kingdom,
the power,
the power,
and the
the
glory,
glory,
forever and ever.
forever.
Forever. Amen.
Thank you, and God bless you all.
See somebody do next month up in Houghton.
Yes. We will also see each other in the flesh next month. There's some of us.
Right.
Okay. All right. God bless you all.